January 13th, 2022 City of Miami Commission meeting is now back in order. I would like to check with the city clerk. Mr. Hannon, do we have any, or the city manager, do we have any pocket items this afternoon?
I believe Commissioner Russell has a pocket item.
Do we have a copy of your pocket item?
It should have been circulated. Mr. Clerk, have you got a copy of my pocket item? This is an emergency ordinance with regard to outdoor dining. In the Coconut Grove bid area, we've been excluded from the most recent ordinance. But considering the surge in Omicron, the need for outdoor dining is pretty important. So for the next 3 months, we'd like Grove restaurants to be able to apply to the new permitting program for 90 days. I'd like to ask if we could do an emergency 2 reading of this so it can be implemented as soon as possible, because they're currently still dining outside, but they're out of compliance at this point because the permits all ended on, I think it was December 31st. So it's a pocket item requesting inclusion of the Coconut Grove businesses for the next 3 months in the permitting process for outdoor dining based on the emergency, health emergency.
What?
No, let me finish.
Madam Chair, we want to vote on it, or we want to take this item now, or?
Hold on one second. Thank you. City Attorney, are there any issues with this item?
It needs to pass by 4/5 vote because there's only 4 commissioners today. That would mean it's a unanimous vote of the body today.
Okay,
It would need to be unanimous because it's a 4/5 vote.
okay. Commissioner Reyes, you wanted to say something?
No, I just wanted to know if we can take it now, because I will move it. I know I have been a great proponent of allowing restaurants to be able to use the outside dining in order to increase the number of people that can, that they can serve, and also increase the revenues, which is there's very much needed after they have gone through this pandemic, that they have been the sector that has been more, I would say, hurt in our economy. It's a certain sector. So if we can move it, I'll move it.
Okay. The item needs to be read into the record. Could you please do that for us, City Attorney?
Yes, ma'am. It's an emergency ordinance of the Miami City Commission temporarily waiving a portion of Section 54-226, subsection F of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, as amended to allow food establishments located in the Coconut Grove Business Improvement District to be eligible to receive a street cafe permit, providing for an expiration date, containing a severability clause, and providing for an immediate effective date.
I'll second the motion.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Commissioner Reyes was the motion also.
Yes, I just moved the motion.
You have a second?
I made a motion.
I'm going to oppose it, the item, if you allow me.
Hold on. Wait. Before you oppose
okay,
it,
when you
let me see if we have anyone here for public comment.
Yes, ma'am.
Is there anyone here that wishes to speak on this item? Commissioner Diaz-de la Portilla?
I don't understand what the emergency nature is and why we're giving special privileges to a particular area in Miami.
Thank you. I'm glad to explain. So
Sure, please.
we carved out the Grove when Commissioner Reyes created the outdoor dining new program.
Yes.
Once the surge started happening, we realized we still want to be a part of it, at least for now. From a business perspective, long term, the retailers and the restaurants are deciding whether these parking spaces are more important or activation of the restaurants is more important. But for 90 days at least, They don't want to force indoor dining right now. They want to have as much outdoor dining as possible because of social distancing and also pandemic recovery, et cetera. They would have to pay into the permitting system, so it's not a gift to them. But if not for this ordinance today, they will have to close down all the on-street parking by code, and that's why we're seeking the emergency nature.
It's only for 90 days, right?
Are they, they've been operating illegally since December
January
31st?
1st,
In
yeah.
essence, right?
Yep.
And so the past 13 days, they've been operating, they've been open.
Yes.
So we're going to legalize an illegal activity that they were doing.
They were legal until December 31st. I talked with the manager as the deadline came to see whether we would enforce that, and that was right as the spike was hitting. We didn't have a legislative measure because of no commission meeting until now. So I just told the manager I would bring an item at the first meeting to see if the will is here to allow for the outdoor dining to continue. If there's not, they'll all have to go back indoors.
And Madam Chair, and Commissioner Reyes, I know this is your ordinance. What are your thoughts on this?
No, it was, I mean, the Commissioner Russell wanted, he asked for that area to be carved out. I do understand. I mean, I have no position on it, Commissioner Diaz-Portillo, because it was their choice that to be carved out. But I do understand that given the actual conditions, this upsurge on COVID, you see people testing positive, that they would like to use that the outside dining more, and it's only for 90 days. I mean, I don't have any quarrel with it. I was a proponent of this ordinance that would allow our restaurants to try to maximize the spaces that they have available in order to obtain additional revenues and try to keep those businesses going and the rate of employment also, or increase the number of employees. And I don't have no quarrel with the Commissioner Diaz-Portillo.
Okay, so you support it?
Yes, I would support it. That's why it's an emergency, given the actual conditions, you see? Given the actual, this is not I mean, didn't come out of or they decided to go back what their decision of being carved out. It is given the conditions then, and we have now that we have this upsurge in COVID cases, and they are some of the businesses, they are enforcing the social distancing and all of that, and that will require them to have less space inside of the restaurants. And for 90 days, that I wish that all this upsurge would start to subside. I don't have any problem with it, sir.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes.
Thank you.
Okay. Are we ready to vote?
I'm ready.
So,
Yes.
just so I can gauge though the temperature, if you are a no vote, Commissioner, I would take away the emergency nature and just do first reading today. That way it's only a 3/5. If you're in support, we'll do the whole thing today.
Well, I like Commissioner Reyes' explanation. It's for 90 days.
Yep,
If we want to do emergency, let's do it. Let's get it done. But it's only for 90 days,
correct.
right?
Only for
And then we reevaluate it down the line. Yes, so no, don't take it away. Let's do it.
Thank you.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Okay.
So, all in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Oh, wait, public comment. I'm sorry.
I already asked.
She
I
already asked.
apologize.
Okay, so
You're
the
not
vote
the chair
is,
anymore. You got to pay attention to the chair. She already asked.
the vote is unanimous. We will move this to make it to go into effect, we need to do it twice.
Yes, let's do it again.
So can you read it
Okay.
into the record again?
You need a motion in a second or no?
I'll make the motion.
Second it.
It's an emergency ordinance of the Miami City Commission temporarily waiving a portion of section 54-226 subsection F of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida as amended to allow food establishments located in the Coconut Grove Business Improvement District to be eligible to receive a street cafe permit, providing for an expiration date containing a severability clause and providing for an immediate effective date.
Madam Chair, can you read that faster again, one more time?
Let's,
bet you can't.
let's go ahead and take the vote on
Yes,
this.
ma'am.
All in favor?
Aye.
The motion passes unanimous. This is
Sheila's getting slower.
My
This is
God.
pocket item 1. Are there any other pocket items to be heard today?
And Chair, just in abundance of caution, if we could just open up, even though it's on the second reading, just for public hearing. I know we didn't have anyone for the
I
first
see.
reading, but just in abundance
Is
of
there
caution.
anyone here for this item that would like to speak? Seeing none,
Good to go. We can move on.
do we have any other pocket items? No other pocket items. Okay, so we will pick up where we left off.
Yes, ma'am.
We are on second readings. Does anyone have an item that they would like to pull?
Okay, let me see, it's SR2. SR2, second reading. This is, I think, this is the, all right. SR2 was the, what we were doing, we were extending the
Pilot
Yeah.
program,
the pilot program.
correct.
But I have some comments on it, but because I think that we have an older ordinance, so we have a first reading.
Okay, so you,
For-
all right, so hold on. So you have some comments for SR2. Does anyone
Yes.
have, does anyone have anything, any comments or discussion for SR1? Does anyone want to pull SR1? Seeing none,
I move SR1.
I second.
okay. All in favor?
And Chair, just a friendly reminder, the title needs to be read into the record.
Oh,
Yes.
could you please read the title into the record?
Yes, ma'am. It's an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 54 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida as amended, titled Streets and Sidewalks, specifically by amending Article 1, titled In General, to allow advertisements on news racks, and by amending Article 7, titled News Racks on Public Rights of Way, to allow electronic news racks and establish requirements for electronic news racks, containing a subrogate clause and providing for an effective date.
Okay,
Now, I have a question to the.
for
city
SR1?
attorney. No.
Okay,
that's
so
all.
let's take a vote on SR1.
Yes, sure.
All in favor?
Well,
Aye.
Aye.
All right, so we're back to SR2, and Commissioner Reyes, you have a comment?
Yes, I have a question. Is this needed since we are, we later on, the establishment of this program is going to be discussed
Yes,
as a first reading?
yes, it is needed because we need to address the
Okay.
8 to 10 days that the program has been out of compliance. So we need that to retroactively address those days.
Okay, Madam Chair, I understand that. Now, what I want to know, and I am asking the city clerk, please pass this a memo that I received, that I requested from Chief Morales, and it has to do with what happened and was stated during the people that, from some residents and the administration of Bayside. What's going on? You see, I know that Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla was adamant about demanding that these companies, they comply with all the requirements. I mean, for example, not underage riders, that they be in effect from be able to rent it from certain hours, not after 9 o'clock, and to ride on the sidewalk, on the street, and to have helmets, et cetera, et cetera. Avoid only 2 companies per block, et cetera, et cetera. From what I see, they have not complied with it. And
Commissioner Reyes, if I may, we're going
Yes.
to take that up with FR5.
Okay, we take it off at
Right,
5.
so
Okay.
this one is only to address the program being out of compliance. It's
I
gonna give us-
stand corrected. I
Okay.
stand corrected, and I'm going to vote the same way that I did before. But I stand corrected. I'm sorry.
All
Go
right,
right ahead.
okay, so we have a motion and a second for SR2,
Yes. So moved.
Second.
okay?
Madam
So,
Chair. Madam
All
Chair.
in favor? Wait,
It does, as you stated, need to be retroactive, so we need to clarify that language. We'll have to
Can
draft an
you-
amendment to make it,
can you
make it-
read it into the record,
Yes, ma'am.
please?
An ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 2, Article 2 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida, is amended, titled Administration, Mayor, and City Commission, more particularly by amending Section 2-33 to exempt the motorized scooter pilot program from the duration requirements pertaining to the pilot program, contain a severability clause, and providing for fact an effective date as amended.
I have a comment.
Commissioner Russell?
Thank you, Madam Chairwoman. This is a question for the management, for the administration. During the extension period, the two commissioners, they were willing to bring the program back through their vote on several conditions. And from what I can see, those conditions aren't being governed or regulated. So I just want to know which department in the city is responsible for making sure about helmets, as well as geofencing. Is anyone doing spot checking? And my goal is not to enforce against the user, but rather the company. If there's a company that is not enforcing the helmet rule, that company should be off the road. If there's a company not enforcing the geofencing, they should be off the road. And we have that power as a department, as the administration, to manage the pilot program in that sense.
Yes, Commissioner, we have the Department of Resiliency and Public Works reviewing all the records in terms of geofencing to make sure that they're within the delineated areas of operations. Instances where non-compliance had been noticed, all the vendors have been called to account for those. With respect to the additional safety measures we discussed, which will be coming up in FR5, we do have a plan in place. The ordinance had called for Miami Police to assist the Code Compliance Department for enforcement and compliance.
That's for FR, Madam Chairwoman, through the chair. For the permanent version, I'm confident you'll get it right. But between now and then, I want to make sure that we are complying with the regulations laid out by the commission when the vote was taken, and I don't believe we are. So I'm wondering if you can amplify your oversight
Yes.
to do spot checks on both
deferred.
helmets and geofencing.
So what the administration intends to continue to do is that in instances of non-compliance with geofencing will be reported immediately to Miami Police for immediate enforcement action. Those vendors that don't comply with the geofencing will be asked to pull those vehicles, those scooters out of operation. There has to be an enhancement in terms of the compliance issues. You can't just continue to non-comply with the requirements and continue to operate. I don't think that's the intent and the language and the spirit of the law.
Madam Chair, if I could, Mr. Hikwaba, my recommendation is that the penalty is not equivalent to the offense. If you're having to chase them, giving a higher burden for the police, and all they're having to do is take those out of the park after violating, they're going to keep doing it and just get caught and take it out. At some point, violating companies need to be removed from the system and the program altogether. So do you have a policy, whether it's 3 strikes or some sort of, I mean, at this point in the program, we need to be pretty heavy on our rules to make sure we're protecting our exposure as a city, that we're enforcing our rules.
Commissioner, currently we don't have that requirement in the pilot program. It's something that we can factor into the permanent program, that once you have become a frequent violator, let's say on a threshold of 3 strikes you are out or 4 strikes you are out, then we'll be able to have the legal basis to remove them from, to become non-compliant with the contract. Right now, the pilot program does not have that inbuilt check and balance.
What about the helmet rule? How are you handling the helmet issue? Because I have to be honest, I have not seen one rental scooter with a rider using their helmet during this extension period.
The requirement for helmets by the users was something that was discussed at the November special meeting, and it was also a condition of restarting the pilot program back then, as directed by this commission. I'm not aware if there has been any recent report filed. I'm going to ask my Public Works Director to advise if we have noticed or received complaints of non-compliance with respect to the helmet use. Again, when the pilot program was restarted, it was made very clear, and even the vendors came out here and placed on the record of their self-compliance readiness. So we will need to coordinate with Miami Police again and Code Compliance for immediate enforcement.
No, but
Hold on, one sec. I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
I understand that, or clarify for me, the helmet requirements and the other safety measures, was that for the program that we're going to address in the subsequent item, or was it for the pilot
It
program?
was for immediate compliance with the pilot.
Immediate
program.
compliance.
Immediately?
Yes, that's what this commission is.
okay.
Okay, well, in that case, I don't see anybody riding around with any helmets. I don't see any of the safety measures that we talked about in place. I thought that maybe it was for the new program,
The,
Commissioner DLP.
the problem is this. We were very clear. I think there was no ambiguity here is what we're doing, right? We were very clear that we wanted them to have helmets, and they all came before us and they testified.
Yes,
And they said they were gonna do it, but they haven't done it. Right? Is that what you're saying? Or you gotta consult with
Yeah,
your
that's-
public works
that's what I'm
guy to
saying.
figure it out, or
no,
you
no,
don't?
no. Commissioner, I said that they testified on the record of their readiness to comply.
I know, but they have not done it.
And they have not done that. So that's what we're saying.
There's no
that
ambiguity here as to what's happening, right?
there's
they
no
haven't done
ambigu- There's no ambiguity. They are not compliant.
Okay, so then we halt the program, right?
Un-
It's I think it's very simple. If they said they were gonna do something and they didn't do it, you halt the program immediately, again, until they do what they said they were gonna do. That was a month ago.
Yes,
What
it
happened?
was more than a month ago.
I know, December 9th. So what happened? A month and 5 days. What happened? Were there any, Madam Chair?
Hang on.
Go ahead.
Were there any conversations with any of the vendors? Maybe you can address it, sir? Because I think we were crystal clear in what we wanted to do. And were there any conversations like the next day after we took our action as a commission about what they had to do, that they failed to do? Or they let them operate the entire holiday season and they did whatever the heck they wanted to do? Is that what happened?
I believe
Mr.
a memo was issued the same.
Before he responds, Madam Chair, if I could just make one comment, because I see the path we're going on, I want to be very clear. I haven't seen riders wearing the helmets, but I've seen 2 companies providing the helmets. So there is compliance within the companies, at least to some extent. And this is anecdotal. I would like to see the empirical evidence from the administration of how they're monitoring this and what violations they've observed, what compliance they've observed. Because I don't want to knock out the program. If there are good operators, I would just like to limit it to the good operators. If they're following our request, they should be able to continue.
So let's staff address your concerns, please.
Good afternoon, Juvenal Santana, Director of Public Works, Department of Resilience and Public Works.
Good afternoon.
So one of the requirements that we had laid out for them was that they would document the rider prior to using the scooter wearing a helmet. So we have not gotten any feedback from them on how they've implemented that. That's something that we're going to have to come back to you on.
No. Did you request feedback? I may, Madam Chair. Did you call the companies the day after we passed what we passed here?
We did
Did you
send
call them the
out,
next day?
we did send a notification to them with all the requirements that were laid out before.
When did you
before
send
commission.
it? Let me ask, to be precise, I think precise language is important. When did you send it?
I think we sent it the day after commission.
Did they respond?
They all acknowledged receiving it, yes.
Did they respond to whether they were going to comply or not?
I think we all heard them here say that they would comply. As far as the direction that was given to them subsequent to our meeting here, their understanding was that this is what had to be done. We didn't need an additional.
So
Madam Chair, I'm sorry.
we have,
If you allow me to finish, please, because it's very frustrating.
go
The
right
commission
ahead.
took action. It was very clear, I think the chairman, we all said that we were going to require certain things, safety measures that were important for the safety of our residents, right? We gave you that directive, we voted on it, and we passed it. I want to know what your process is and kind of when we pass something here, what you guys do to implement what we vote on and pass. How does that work? And what follow-up do you have through that whole process? Do you call the companies? If you find them in violation, do you confiscate the scooters or your people that are riding without a helmet? I think helmets are very, very important. I said it from the beginning. The only reason I would support a scooter program in the city of Miami is with the safety measures in place. So I've been fighting for that for about a year and a half now, right? Something like that. And supporting you, Commissioner Russell, on that. But, you got to act. And they were told what to do, but they haven't done it. So the only recourse that we have at the end of the day is to halt the program and say, until you do it, you can't rent a scooter out. Because if our own city government does not follow up on what this city commission says that has to happen via votes that we take. So what's happening here? So what did you do to follow up on that?
Mr. Santana, I believe Mr. Santana has answered. He sent the notice out to the operators, and they all acknowledged receipt of.
But receipt and compliance are two different things.
Right, now, let me finish.
So-
Now, would your department be responsible for enforcement, or is there another department that would be responsible for enforcement?
So the program as it sits today, there's an amendment before you in the FR1 that includes police to code compliance, and the program as it sits today, enforcement resides with code.
And so enforcement resides with code, and here's my issue with that, which I said during that meeting. Where are we going to get the staff to enforce all of these regulations? We are already understaffed, and with the pandemic, we have staff calling out sick who are affected in, test positive, and we're so short-staffed. So I don't see how we have the staff to do the enforcement. We just don't have the staff to do the enforcement. But again, when the program was halted, we had a chamber full of representatives from the scooter program promising that they would do this, that they could do this, they could do this, they could do this. So I tend to agree with my colleague in that you can't come here and just make empty promises, and we still have these safety issues that are being unaddressed. Commissioner Russell?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I absolutely agree, and if we need to pass a resolution, I do not believe code and police should be our enforcement arm here. The scooter companies would love to pass the buck so that we are chasing around riders and giving personal tickets and code going after people's, leaning against their homes or going after them a code violation. The enforcement should be against the companies. And if they know they're going to lose their opportunity to work in Miami, they will use their technology to find a way for their riders to comply. And so if we find non-compliance, we should be eliminating companies. And that way, what we keep are the good operators who are responsible to this city, to everyone's safety, and to working together with us. I do not want to task police and code with more work. I don't want to put it on us. I want to put it on the companies. I want to hold them accountable. So I still think it falls with Public Works to have the enforcement ability to remove from the program. Is that with you currently under the pilot?
So going back to as far as the changes to the program that are being proposed, the fines are both set right now as proposed to both the scooter company and the user.
But there's no mechanism for removal of a
Madam
company.
Chair.
Right now, under the pilot program,
I think you have that right. I think it's written into the pilot program that your department or the administration has the ability to pull anyone out of this pilot program if for non-compliance.
Commissioner, if I may?
Hold on one
yeah,
second. Hold on one
Madam
second.
Chair.
Commissioner Reyes would like to be recognized.
Please, it's very interesting. I mean, I have seen that. What I'm hearing is the same thing that I have been saying all along. And I think I went out of it. Hello?
I can hear you.
Oh, but I cannot see you. Well, I don't know what happened with my camera, but I have said that enforcement, that we have to be very careful who's going to be enforced and who's going to pay for it. You see, I don't believe that. I agree with Madam Chair that we cannot place this burden in our code department or police department. You see, that's this little incident that happened, that took place at Bedside, cost of the city of Miami in personnel over close to $5,184, and it was only for a couple of hours. You see, we cannot make the police department or code responsible for it. Now, we are not going to have the police chasing those people that are not in compliance, but somebody has to keep track if they are compliant or not. And obviously, they are not, they don't have the mechanism, even the companies or us, we don't have the mechanism. For example, one of the requirements is that nobody under 18 could rent one of those scooters. Well, if you go downtown and you go at night and you go in certain areas, you see teenagers riding and even, racing in those scooters. And furthermore, it was shown today, you see so many responsible adults that have toddlers riding with them, which is also prohibited. So somebody has to keep track of those that are companies that are allowing that. But how the companies, I want to know what is the company's plan, if there is any, if it is a possibility, which I think it is impossible, what is the plan, the company's plan to enforce the regulations that they promised that they were going to implement?
Well,
And that is, Madam Chair, you are absolutely right. We cannot burden our departments more from what they have. Who's going to pay for that?
right.
I mean, if we need additional personnel, who's going to pay for that additional personnel? When we could be using the police department chasing criminals, you see, instead of chasing scooters. I mean,
Correct.
it is something that we have to analyze and say it is worth it.
Thank you, Commissioner Reyes. So
Madam Chair?
we find ourselves in a quandary now where we re-implemented the pilot program. Micromobility is an issue for us. We want to allow people to get around our city, but we need them to get around safely. So I am looking to my colleagues to see what is the will of this body. We have a program. We've had contractors come forward and say they would implement these safety measures, and we find now that the measures are not implemented. So do I have a motion?
I'll move to halt the program until they keep their word.
Madam Chair?
They gotta keep-
Madam Chair.
I'd
they
like
gotta
to
keep-
offer a
Okay,
secondary proposal.
hold on one second. Do I have a second to that motion? Do I have?
I second that motion, and that's precisely what I was just going to say. You see, because I don't want to sound like the person that wants to destroy this program. I've always been afraid of the harm that could cause to pedestrians, to themselves, and I don't know. I'm afraid that this is a major tragedy waiting to happen. But I would like, if Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla, if I may add, hold this program until they have a doable plan is presented, but how it's going to be implemented and how the security measures are going to be implemented and who is going to pay for it. You see, a comprehensive plan, how we're going to avoid risking those riders getting hurt.
Right.
Or hurting somebody that is not even a rider, you see, and how they are going to, comply with the requirements that this commission placed on the operators.
Okay. I believe the city manager wants to weigh in.
Yes, Mr. Chair, Commissioners, the administration recognizes the lapses in the operations of this scooter program. Our proposal is that effective immediately, all non-compliance complaints received that are judged to be provable and correct merits immediate revocation of the operating permit. That is a good position to take that will force every vendor operator to come into immediate compliance.
Hold on one second. Barnaby,
question, but I
one
don't think
second.
the
Let me
motion's fine.
get some legal advice here.
I
Barnaby,
won't
where
work
are
like that.
we with,
So I was going to suggest until Dr. Ihekwaba just came up with this fabulous idea, that SR2 has not yet been
Fabulous.
voted on.
Right.
So if SR2 does not pass, the program is over, and the scooters must immediately be taken off the street. So I only throw that as an option. I'm not advocating, but rather than having a separate resolution or directive, you could simply either move to deny SR2, or you could defer it to a future date, because without the
Okay.
passing of SR2, there is no pilot program.
Well,
Wait.
okay.
Well, I'm not in favor of
Yeah.
removing the scooters from the street, but I'm not in favor of that. But, and let me be clear, the safety of our residents is of top priority. The safety of our residents. It seems as if administration has come up with a viable option.
I think so, yes.
A viable option for scooter operators to, if they don't come in compliance, they can be removed from the program immediately.
Immediately.
But that was my question. Define immediately.
So immediately is, we normally receive either from Nextdoor of people sending emails with photographs of scooter operators within the city limits that belong to any of those licensed and permitted vendors that are being operated beyond the requirements of the program. Once we receive those photographic reports that are evidence, there's no way we can disprove it. It shows Lime or it shows any of those vendors, and the operator doesn't have a helmet, or children that are clearly less than the age of 18 are operating them, we simply send you a notice of revocation.
Okay,
Just
but-
like we do in building permits.
Madam Chair,
Wait,
I have
hold
a
on,
question.
but-
I have
Hold
a
on,
question.
hold on, I've got a couple of people speaking at the same time.
Do we
Commissioner
give-
Reyes,
sorry.
go ahead,
I'm
Commissioner
sorry.
Reyes.
Yes, as I do understand, and this question is for the administration, there was an RFP, and the RFP, I mean, I was in the process of selecting the companies. I want to know what effect any action that we take here will have on that RFP. You see, if we stop the project, what's happening with the RFP and the selection process that is going on? You see, I think that we have to clarify our position. Where are we in reference to the RFP that went out, and it was answered by the scooters company? And I don't know what's going on, because maybe we passed the first reading on establishing the permanent program, but we don't know who's going to be there, and it does not have included I don't know if it was included in the RFP, the different safety measures that were decided by this commission. You see, I want to know what's going on with the RFP.
Let me check with staff. City
Yes.
manager?
The procurement director is going to respond.
Good afternoon, Annie Perez. The status, well, first of all, the status of the RFP is tomorrow. We have negotiations scheduled with the top 3 highest ranked firms. And as regards to the helmets and all those other safety, those were not contemplated in the RFP, because that all came up obviously in the meeting. December 9th, the RFP had already come out. We had already gotten proposals. So there were safety measures that we did talk to Commissioner De La Portilla with early on, that he wanted in there. Those were in there. If I may proffer just an idea, perhaps what we can do with the permanent program, the codification, is to codify the helmets and things like that. That way it is law, and they would have to comply, through this RFP, because if the RFP did not contemplate the helmets, it would have to be mandated by law.
Well, Madam Chair, it's a question of legal. How will we codify that now, post an RFP, right? Because it wasn't a requirement of the RFP.
It's actually in the proposal for FR.
And the
FR5?
proposal we're doing now, so that applies, I'm just trying to get clarification. It applies to the RFP,
It will apply to the operation of.
to the
scooters in
3
the city of
companies,
Miami.
whatever they are, that won the RFP, basically.
Correct. It'll apply to the operation of scooters in the city of Miami.
Okay, so how do we codify it?
It's
By
included
passing
in
FR2,
FR5.
FR5, I'm sorry.
Yes, it's
So
included.
SR2 is on the floor now.
Yes, I know.
Let's take a vote.
So
Yes.
if I may, before we proceed, it's assumed by the administration that we now have those powers based on the passing of SR2 to revoke any permit for non-compliance.
No, we have to pass an amendment, a resolution to include that after we deal with SR2.
Correct.
So we have a motion by Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla and a second by Commissioner Russell. All in favor?
Aye.
And that's as amended?
Commissioner Reyes is trying to speak, but he's muted.
Commissioner Reyes, we can't hear you.
You please read the amendment, how that.
No, the amendment comes next. The amendment will come in the second resolution.
We are voting in SR2 as it is, right?
Yes,
Expanding
and then we're
its-
going to do an amendment to include the enforcement measures
But
proffered
I
by the
thought
city
that-
manager.
I thought that Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla, he moved it to halt the program. And that is what I second. Correct me if I'm wrong, Mr. City Clerk.
I didn't move, I recommended that we would halt the program, but I never made a motion for it. So what we're doing now is we're dealing, because now they've clarified.
Mr. Clerk, will you call back and please?
Sure.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. That's what I understand it by Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla.
Yes, so
That he made a recommendation.
So we moved SR2, or I moved SR2, it was seconded, right? And now we're gonna vote on it, and then we'll take up
Okay.
FR5, which comes later.
no, then we're going to do an
Then
amendment
we'll do an amendment.
to SR for this,
Then
to
we'll-
do the enforcement.
Okay, but hold on. An amendment to SR2.
So
So are we doing an amendment, hold on, I'm gonna ask for my own purpose. So we have SR2, I move it, but as amended, what's the amendment?
the amendment is to clarify that it is retroactive because for the past week or so,
Right,
the scooters the pilot program has already been terminated.
correct.
All right,
So it
but
needs
what,
to be
those are not the safety measures.
No,
Now,
no,
the safety measures would be a separate resolution directing the administration to revoke the permits for any scooter companies that are not in compliance with this commission's direct requirements dictated on the record December 9th.
All right, so that resolution will be proposed right now as a pocket item?
Yes, that'll come as a
So
separate
that's what
item.
we do?
Yes.
So we vote on this
so
one?
vote on this.
All right,
Okay,
I got it.
ready?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Commissioner Reyes?
No,
No?
no.
Okay, so
I
the
have-
measure
I-
passes.
I've been, and I want to clarify, it. I want to make clear why I'm voting no. This is, what it's doing, it is extending legislation that says, stipulates, clearly stipulates that all pilot programs should be for 1 year in order to avoid what past problems that we have pilot programs for 10, 15 years. You see, so I don't want to start exempting any program for it. And although I don't agree with the way that this pilot program and this scooter program has been established, for the reasons that I have said 100 times, it is not that I am against micro transportation or that I'm fixed in the old times, that we have horse and buggies. No, I am very concerned about the safety of people that ride those scooters and also people that walk our sidewalks. See, and I stated it, and I hope that I am 200% wrong, but I am afraid that this is a major, I would say, even a fatality waiting for happiness. There has been to the United States, there have been a lot of people are getting hurt, people that have gone to the hospitals, and there have been people that have been killed. You see, last meeting I brought a list of 53 people individuals that persons that were killed.
Correct.
And I don't want that in my conscience, and that's why, unless there is a very strict measures, and not only strict measures, we have to have implementing procedures in place that will be foolproof.
Well, let's
So,
get to
and
that.
I haven't seen any, and
Okay,
I cannot vote
let's
in favor.
get, okay.
That's it.
Thank you.
And Chair, just for the record, item SR2 then passes 3-1 with Commissioner Reyes voting no and Commissioner Correa absent.
Correct. And now we're going to take up the amendment.
I'll move it.
But before we do that, we need to recognize a very special person who left to the other side, to the upper chamber, the Miami-Dade County Commissioner who's here in the audience right now. But he left us. He left us at the vortex and the black hole.
Well, he is always
As
welcome.
you came back, sir.
He is always welcome.
Welcome, Commissioner Hardeman.
It's a-
Miami-Dade County Commissioner Hardeman now.
He cannot get away, he cannot stay away. He wishes he'd be here with us.
Is that the voice of God I hear in my ear?
Yes, sir.
Through the chair, please.
Through the chair.
Through the
Please,
chair.
everything through the chair, number one.
Through the
Everything
chair.
through the chair. We appreciate your replacement, but we remember you and the good work you did here in Miami and you
Yeah.
continue to do for our community, Commissioner. And I just wanted to take a moment to recognize him, and you become a good friend and you're a great leader in this community. And we represent together, this district you represent on a broader scale, and we welcome you here, and I hope you continue to remember that it all starts at the local government level, the municipal level. And don't get caught up in that vortex over there in Miami-Dade County.
Well, you have to remember, Commissioner, that I'm the former Miami-Dade County League of Cities president, so
Yes,
I
you are, sir.
believe in local governance. And I just want you all to know, I'm here for you. And so we know there's a lot of issues that the city of Miami and Miami-Dade County share.
Yeah.
There's some things that we're going to be needing to tackle together. And I'm here always to give you the listening ear that you deserve and give you a fair shot at, what it is that you're trying to accomplish. And I still think it's up for debate, which side is darker,
Yeah.
city of Miami or Miami-Dade County, so.
I've never been on
We
that
are
side. But you get to the state center, you'll figure out what happened. But thank you for being here, sir, and we really respect the fact that you're doing such good work for us over there. And I wanted to make sure that we acknowledged him.
My pleasure. Thank you very much, Madam Chair.
God bless you,
Thank
Commissioner.
you for
Through-
stopping by.
God bless you, Commissioner. Thank you for being here.
Through the chair.
Don't leave yet, by the
Kian,
way. Don't leave yet.
Kian, now that
Commissioner?
you're here, I wanna.
Commissioner, don't go away. Come on.
Now that you're here, I wanna make sure that I want you to know the way I feel. I think that now, instead of having a confrontational relationship with Dade County, now we're starting an era of cooperation. And I know having you there, that will take effect. That's gonna happen. We're gonna be cooperating more than we have done in the past.
You're absolutely right, and that's what it's all about. It's at the end of the day, this is about the best thing that we could do for our constituents.
Our people.
Our constituents, because I'm still, Commissioner King is my commissioner, right? She represents my area.
That's right.
And so there are a number of needs that I can't solve, she has to solve. And so if we understand that about each of our spaces, camaraderie and working together is how you go about making
Yeah.
a change
sir.
that matters to the people, that should matter to all of us.
And by the way, she's a quick learner, isn't she? You saw her chairing today?
I've been watching.
Wow. Really
Yeah, she's-
impressive. She deserves congratulations for the great job she's done.
That she's done a fantastic job.
Thank you for
very much.
stopping by.
Thank you, Commissioner.
Thank you for your support. Barnaby, Mr. Min, City Attorney, would you please read the proposed resolution into the record that we will be addressing next?
Yes, it's my understanding it would be a resolution directing the city administration to revoke any and all permits of scooter companies that are not complying with the requirements that have been imposed by this city commission on December 9th of 2021.
I'll do that as
Do
a
I-
pocket item for me.
Okay. Do I have a motion?
Yes.
Yes, I move
Yes,
it.
ma'am.
Motion by Commissioner Carollo, seconded by Commissioner
Carollo.
Russell.
Sorry.
Did you call me Commissioner Carollo?
Oh, I'm
Really? Did I look like Commissioner
Motion.
Carona to you? Come on.
Is there any resemblance?
Motion.
Really?
No, you know,
I mean,
no.
wow.
Listen,
In
I
which
was,
way?
I was just
Physical?
thinking about him and hoping that he is feeling well.
He's doing
He
well.
was on my mind. I want him to feel better. So let me start again. Motion by Commissioner Reyes, seconded by Commissioner Russell. All in favor?
Chair, public, if it's,
Because that wasn't, anybody here
Correct.
would like to speak on this item? Seeing no one here to speak on this item, all in favor?
Aye.
Commissioner Reyes, I didn't hear you.
Aye.
Okay, the motion passes unanimously. Okay, so now we are going to take up first readings. Anyone want to pull any of the items? Any items being deferred?
Yes, ma'am, I'm gonna pull FR4, which I think requires a 4/5, and that's really timely right now. We'll deal with it next commission meeting. That's correct? Ziri, is that correct, sir? Doctor?
Yes, Commissioner.
FR4 is off.
And then FR5, we're gonna pull too, right? We're gonna defer the motorized scooter program.
That's correct.
That's gonna be deferred also. I move that as well.
Okay, so that leaves us with,
No, ma'am, through the chair.
okay,
Madam Chair. I wanna pull FR1.
You want-
I am not in favor of,
you want to pull that for discussion?
for discussions, for voting, everybody knows my position. I wanna state it once again.
Okay, so
And,
hold on.
I just wanted to be voted separately.
Okay, so we're gonna pull that one. All right, which leaves us with FR2,
So moved.
FR3.
Chair, FR3 already passed.
Oh, that's true. FR3 already passed, so we are left with FR2.
That's it.
That's it?
So
Do I have a motion to pass FR2?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Sure. Second.
Second by Commissioner Russell. All in
Chair,
favor?
friendly reminder, the title.
It's ordinance of the Miami City Commission modifying the number of attorneys in the office of the city attorney with funding when needed for additional attorneys as allowed shall be by budget resolution containing a sub-read clause and providing for an effective date.
So now to be clear, how many more attorneys, Madam Chair, how many more attorneys are we giving the city attorney's office now?
I believe the proposal is up to 35. There will be no fiscal impact. The idea is that with the savings that we have in the office now, it'll pay for any additional positions that we need to fill.
And how many additional positions are you gonna fill?
The idea is to fill one position that was approved in September,
Right.
and then a second position based on the resignation of a senior attorney in December. So it would be two positions that will fill in the next couple
Point
of
of
weeks.
information,
Okay, that's fine.
Madam Chair.
Go ahead.
I heard you say that, given the savings, are those savings, gonna come from reduction in salaries?
No.
No, the savings are based on efficiencies within the office of the city attorney.
Oh, okay. I thought you were gonna
Efficiencies.
reduce your salary.
Efficiencies.
Efficiency is what we need.
I never use that word, Madam Chair, in government and efficiencies. I never seen that before, but I like it.
We're gonna use
No,
it.
Good lord,
and
good
we're
lord.
gonna have, through the chair, we're gonna have a huge discussion on efficiency very soon.
Okay.
Because since I was elected, I've been asking for it.
Okay,
Okay,
so
all right.
can we vote on the item
Yes,
now?
ma'am.
All right, all in favor?
All right.
Motion passes unanimously for FR2. Let's take up FR1. Commissioner Reyes?
Yes, as I stated, when the contract was passed, I totally disagree, and I don't think that we should increase the maximum or the pension, the total pension in the city of Miami for certain people only, that increase it to $120,000, $100,000. I'd rather use the money that we were used, that we need to provide the pension plan money that we need from the general fund that have to go into the pension fund, that those funds to be used to raise the salaries of the lower paid employees and to make full-time, so many part-timers that we have that have been working for 20 years as a part-timer, which is without any benefits, 15, 10, 20 years. And then that's the way that I think that is the most efficient way to use those additional funds that we have to contribute to the pension fund, instead of increasing the total benefits to $120,000 and $100,000, something that is unheard of in city government. I'm a retiree from the school system, and I can assure you, there's not a single teacher that will even get even half of that amount. So, having said that, my vote, you know how it's going to go, and that's what I wanted to say. And now you're ready to vote. Go ahead and vote.
I believe we need the city attorney to read this into the record.
Sorry, it's an ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending Chapter 40, Article 4, Division 3 of the Code of the City of Miami, Florida as amended, titled Personnel, Pension, and Retirement Plan, City of Miami General Employees and Sanitation Employees Retirement Trust, more particularly by amending Sections 40-254 and 40-255, titled Paybacks for Membership Credit and Benefits, respectively, to amend the service retirement benefits, provide for purchase of credit for certain non-membership service, and amend the definitions of average final compensation and normal retirement age. Further amending Chapter 40, Article 4, Division 6 of the City Code, titled Personnel, Pension, and Retirement Plan, Trust Fund for appointed officers and employees and executive service, more particularly by amending Section 40-351 of the City Code, titled Trust Fund for appointed officers and employees and executive service, to allow certain executive officers and employees to elect to participate in either the Trust Fund for appointed officers and employees and executive service, or the City of Miami General Employees and Sanitation Employees Retirement Trust, and providing for the purchase of prior service, contain a severance clause, and providing for immediate effective date.
Okay. Ready to vote?
Yes, ma'am.
Sorry, Chair, is there a motion?
So moved.
Motion second? Second. Motion in a second.
Seconded by
Commissioner Russell, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All against?
I think we may have lost Commissioner Reyes.
No.
You're a no
One
vote? Okay, and Commissioner Russell, I didn't hear your vote. Okay, so 3 in favor, Commissioner Reyes against.
Yes, motion passes 3-1.
Okay,
Motion passes. Okay.
that concludes the first readings.
Madam Chair, do you need a motion for
No,
deferral?
yes, FR4 and FR5 still need to be either deferred or continued, and a motion will be required.
For 4 and 5?
Yes, yes, ma'am.
Okay, do I have a motion to defer FR4?
I will move to defer FR4 and FR5
Do I have a second?
Second.
To what date?
to the first week of February, first commission meeting in February,
That'll be February 10th.
February 10th.
February 10th. Okay. I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We are on boards and committees.
Thank you, Chair.
Before boarding committees, Madam Chair, if I may.
May what?
Thank you.
May what?
If I may have a conversation with you, make a motion. That's why you're recognized. Can I make a
I thought
motion?
you was gonna ask to go to the bathroom or something.
If I may, you should finish the sentence, right? Which make a motion. So, inquire before I make the motion, because maybe we want to do it on the 27th, next commission meeting, we don't want to do it today.
Okay.
We need to address this, what the chairman, the chairwoman wants to do. We need to address the chairmen and chairwomen of the different committees, boards, the Omni CRA, the Bayfront Park Management Trust, including your own that you now chair, because it's temporary. What's your pleasure? Do you want to do that today, or do you want to wait till the 27th to do that, ma'am?
I would rather wait until the 27th so that Commissioner Carollo could be here as well for,
So you have a full day, yes?
right, so
That's
we have
right.
a full day.
Okay, that's fair enough. And the second inquiry that I have is, are you going to have a CRA meeting today, ma'am? Whether
no,
you're
I'm
chairing
not.
right now? You're not?
No, I'm not.
Okay, I just want to know, because we can't discuss it privately, so we can discuss it publicly. Okay, that works. Thank you.
Mr. City Clerk, boards and committees?
Thank you, Chair. BC 10, Community Relations Board, Mayor Suarez would like to reappoint Patrick Owens.
Move it.
Who?
Patrick Owens.
Is that it?
Yes, well, is for the Community Relations Board, yes.
Okay, all right. We are now
There,
on,
there was a motion by Commissioner Reyes. I
Yes, I
didn't
move it.
hear who the seconder was,
I'll second it.
seconded by Commissioner Russell.
and I just need a vote on that motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
That concludes the boards and committees. What we do.
We have DI2, the underlying project presentation, but I don't think, is anyone here for the,
I think we said 4:30, time certain.
right, we're not gonna make,
No,
we're not gonna make,
I think we go home and we come back on the 27th. How about that?
which I made them aware that we might not
Yeah.
be here then. Okay, so planning and zoning. Does anyone want to pull any of these items? We
I'll
have
move
a-
PZ1.
You move PZ1? Is there a seconded for
I'll
PZ?
second that.
Any discussion?
There's a discussion. Right?
Yes.
Uh,
I'd like
I-
to, Madam Chair.
Commissioner?
Madam Chair, Madam Chair,
Hold on one second, Commissioner Reyes. Commissioner Russell is being recognized.
I'd like to proffer an amendment before we start the discussion that I think, because I think Commissioner Reyes and I have gone back and forth on this many, many months and deferred many,
Yes,
many
ma'am.
times. I think it's time to bring it to a head and try to find a consensus. I think we all want affordable housing, and we do all want to protect our single-family neighborhoods as well. So I'd like to proffer an amendment that replaces the abutting T3 language that's in the draft that's presented on the record with these words. In 3.15.3, it would read, affordable and attainable mixed-income housing developments that are zoned T3 are not eligible for the provisions in section 3.15. And here comes the exception. Notwithstanding all affordable projects at or below an AMI of 80% or government and civic projects, whether owned or leased or publicly funded by city, county, CRA, or a religious institution, shall be permitted to develop an affordable and attainable mixed-income housing development that abuts a T3 zone by exception with city commission approval. All projects which share a property line with a T3 zone shall provide a buffer appropriate to the context in accordance with Article 4, Table 12.
Hold on a
That would be the
second.
amendment I would proffer.
I think that there's something missing there because this amendment, I've been discussing it with Caesar and with everybody. And I don't quite get what you were saying. It is okay. It is are not eligible for the provision in section 315, where we said that all affordable projects or are below AMI 80% of government and city projects, whether owned or leased by city, county, CRA. You see,
I added the term publicly funded as well, so that we don't preclude ourselves from something we are funding as a city or one of our government agencies are funding, that we at least have the freedom to go through the exception process for them as well.
But you see, you are trying, I mean, this is very smart, you see. When you want public funding, anything that you give them $5,000, that's public funding, and then they will provide, I mean, they could, they will qualify. I don't think that we should include public funding. You see, there is and I do understand what you're trying to do, and I agree that we must do something about it. But one thing that really irks me, it is that as time goes by and I've been here, I have seen more and more encroachment of the T3s. And I don't want to open the floodgates that anybody that owns, can buy land next to a T3 and they can say, okay, let's do this project in which I am going to get benefits for parking. I'm gonna get, reduction on the size of the apartments and an increase increase on apartments. And you know how that is going to affect the neighborhoods. People are gonna be parking all over, and our neighborhoods are gonna be very, very affected. The harm is gonna be tremendous. And one thing that I don't want you to take this personal, but that I really, in a way, I wonder if those proponents of those type of development next to tea trees will buy a house next to one of these projects and move there. You see? I don't see anybody moving or any of those developers coming and saying, no, I'm going to buy a house or I'm going to live in those apartments. You see, we need affordable housing and we need development, but development for development's sake, no. We have to look into the negative effect of all the projects that we are going to do on the established neighborhoods that we have in the city of Miami. And that is my position. That's why I agree with everything you said. I am willing to compromise, but take that public funding away because public funding is very generous. It encompasses any type of funds that will be, that any institution will provide these developers. And it could be public funding, it could be money from the federal government, from Dade County, or from the city, or whatever. So
So Commissioner Russell, did you hear what?
I did, and I really appreciate compromise, Commissioner Reyes. I know you're very strong on protecting T3 and their interests.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to make an example for you that hopefully at least lets you see what I'm trying to accomplish here. In the West Grove, I have the entire Grand Avenue basically abuts T3, and none of that is government-owned land. Almost none of it is church-owned land. They're private property that will build market rate guaranteed. But if we incentivize them to do affordability with safeguards in place for the T3, an exception process, and they have to be involved with us in some way through a grant or a TIF deal or something, we could do a floor for like what percentage or amount that would be, so it's not just a scapegoat to get them into the fold. We want to protect that T3. Like, for example, we would not allow that to happen without the regulations of ingress and egress and parking, because the backside of that T5 is T3. But I don't want it to just be market rate with no ability to incentivize them. I don't want all the affordable housing to be built on our dime and our shoulders. I want market rate developers to suddenly see a reason to be involved in this, but we still retain the protection through the exception process that any one of those has to come to this commission.
Well,
we can elevate the threshold of the vote if you want, 4/5.
May I, Commissioner Reyes, may I? It seems as if we are still at an impasse on this item, and I think
We're close.
I think we should take it back, the options that you've offered to staff so that Commissioner Reyes could take a look at it. He can add in what he's interested in, because if I'm reading the tea leaves right today, I don't think we have a 4/5 vote. So I'd like to defer the item
I move to defer.
so that we can get,
I second, but I
Chair,
want to answer.
If I could at least have
if
Commissioner
you-
Diaz-Portillo, I'm sorry, Commissioner Russell made the motion, so if Commissioner Diaz-Portillo could just withdraw your second to
I will draw my second and I'll make a new motion to defer.
and
And I will
Commissioner
second.
Reyes seconded.
But before we go into it, I want to answer the argument of Commissioner Russell. Commissioner Russell, you see, you're talking about exceptions. When exception comes, and we deal with it when it comes. But I don't want to give them a carte blanche now that everybody that owns land next to T3s, and if you don't believe me, what the effect, the negative effect, I will invite you to my house that it is on 7th Street, Southwest 7th Street, and I have buildings that every single tenant parks in the swales of everybody here. Where a lot of people here, they comes and they walk, those people that live in those apartment buildings, they come and they walk the dogs and they do what the dogs do in everybody's yard and nothing happens. And the traffic is horrendous. It is very easy to make decisions when you don't have or propose different changes in the way that on the amount of people that can be incorporated into a building and the amount of apartments and all of that, when you are far away from it. You see?
Commissioner Russell, Commissioner Reyes.
Hold on a second. What I'm saying is this, if there, according to what you're saying here, there are some exceptions. And I think that what we have to do is take those exceptions one at a time, but don't open the floodgates. Okay?
Okay, Commissioner Russell?
Commissioner Reyes, if I were to remove the words publicly funded, would you accept the remainder of the amendment?
Yes.
Then I'd like to give it a last chance, rather than deferring the item, to actually pass it on 4/5 today with the amendment, with everything that I said except for the words publicly funded, and I can read it again if you like.
And Chair, just so you know, on the floor, there's a motion by Commissioner Diaz-de la Bourtier and Commissioner Reyes.
Well, let's do one thing.
Right.
The issue is very simple, Madam Chair, if I may. We defer to the next commission meeting.
But we have consensus.
Absolutely.
I may not have him next meeting.
I don't think we have consensus.
Okay, but that may be
Yes.
different.
What's a big deal?
That's
Wait
right.
till the
There are some
27th.
projects, there are projects waiting for this.
For 2
For 1
weeks?
week?
2 weeks? No?
They're already delayed.
2 weeks. And they're not gonna, if they are not willing to wait 2 weeks, they don't deserve any change in the regulations or code.
My motion stays to defer.
And my second stage, and let's vote on it.
I'm sorry, just a minute. It wouldn't, can we do a 2-week deferral, or would it be a 4-week deferral? Does it have to go
No,
back to
we-
PZ?
No, we could defer it to the next commission meeting.
Yeah.
We can defer it to the next
Yeah.
commission meeting.
So we'll do that end.
Okay, so what is the will of the body? There's a motion to defer and a second to defer
Yes.
to the
27th.
January 27th commission meeting.
Okay.
Wait, I see some folks that would like to come forward. Oh, that's me.
Oh, sorry.
Getting used to
Oh, no, don't worry.
different
Oh,
buttons.
yeah, I'm on now, sorry. Good afternoon, everyone, and Happy New Year. Iris Escara with offices at 333 Southeast 2nd Avenue. Commissioner, you are correct. 2 weeks is not going to necessarily be a huge impact because we would still have to apply and process an exception and so forth. But I do want to point out that this legislation has been trying to move forward in one format or another since 2019. So we do
Yes,
have some.
ma'am.
So we do have some affordable projects that are in line, that have been waiting, that we've been trying to make sure that it is as complete as possible to address all the commissioners' concerns. So we would ask if please in 2 weeks we have some consensus, because we would really like to move forward because we have dollars locked in from the
That's fair.
state.
And
Right.
that's fair.
I think
Madam
we're-
Chair.
I think we're very close. What I didn't want to see
I
happen
think that was
is
2
that,
words.
Okay.
what I didn't want to
That's more than fair.
What I didn't want to see happen is that it died because
Of
it
course.
requires a
No, we
forfeit.
appreciate that.
Madam Chair,
Thank you very much.
it does not require.
Madam
four
Chair,
votes.
Madam
Simple
Chair,
majority.
may I address what Ms. Scar is doing? They're saying, yes, it has been since 2019. And I have been opposing it since then. And I'm glad I did, because at the time, those apartments that were called workforce, they according to the language and the way that they were doing it, they were going to be rented at 140% of the AMI. It was close to over $2,000 a month. And I had a great fight, and after many tries, I brought it down that the maximum is 80% of AMI, which protects those people, those low-income people, and I wish I could have brought it down. So when you talk about affordable, make sure that you and I are in the same. We have the same meaning of what affordable is. You see, because affordable to you, some of you guys, the developers, nothing wrong with it. You are in it's business. You can get as much as you can. But we were blessing those apartments that and giving them benefits under the promises that they were going to proffer affordable housing with the name of workforce at $2,000 per month.
Okay.
You see?
Commissioner Reyes?
And I want to make sure, and I'm glad that
Okay.
I could change that.
Well,
I just want to make sure we're all on the same page, because Commissioner Reyes and I completely agree at
right,
this point.
so, okay.
Okay.
Can we, Commissioner Diaz?
Let's
Or
vote.
Dia, can you withdraw your motion to defer so that we could move forward?
No, let's.
No,
let's.
no.
I will-
You want to move forward?
I would like to move forward with the item.
Okay, then, in deference to
Commissioner
you,
Russell said that he would take away the
public
public
funding.
funding. He would take away the public
so
funding.
in deference to you, yes, ma'am, I will draw my motion.
Okay, so,
I'll make a motion, once again,
I'll make a
For
motion to pass as is
PZ1.
with his amendment. Let me make the motion, because I would
Thank
do it, right? And I'll make the motion.
Yes.
Eliminating public funding from
Okay.
the language and,
And in
That's a
deference to you, Madam Chair, I know that there is a very important project in your district.
yes.
It
that-
is.
that-
There
That's
is.
why, that's
And
why I
listen,
said in deference to you, the Madam Chair.
thanks.
I am very clear. You see, I don't, I call spade. And in deference to you, if those two words are removed, I will vote in favor.
Okay, so may I have a vote?
Chair?
Do you need to read it again?
Chair?
Yes, ma'am.
Read it again.
Two things. One, I didn't catch the seconder, my apologies.
second.
Okay? And yes, the title does need to be read into the record.
An ordinance of the Miami City Commission amending ordinance number 13114, the zoning ordinance of the city of Miami, Florida, is amended more specifically by amending Article 1, Section 1.2, titled Definition of Terms, to modify the definition of attainable mixed income housing and workforce housing by amending Article 3, Section 3.15, titled Affordable and Attainable Mixed Income Housing Special Benefit Program Supplemental Regulations to add new incentives, including a floor lot ratio bonus and new minimum unit sizes for the development of projects providing housing for mixed income populations, and to permit affordable and attainable mixed income developments abutting a T3 suburban zone transit zone by a process of exception with city commission approval, clarifying language within Miami 21, making findings contained in subrogation clause, and providing for an effective date.
Can you read it a second time? No, I'm just kidding.
All in favor?
I got to go.
All in
Okay.
favor?
Aye.
I didn't catch.
As amended.
As amended.
As amended without public funds.
Yes,
Correct.
without public
Without
funds.
public funds, yes.
Commissioner Reyes, thank you very much. Compromise, look at this. Look at us.
Yes,
Motion
yes,
passes unanimously. Hey, no clapping, no clapping, no clapping.
Okay.
Okay, next item is PZ3. Can you read it into the,
Yes, ma'am. It's an ordinance of the
Record.
Miami City Commission with attachments amending ordinance number 13114. The zoning ordinance of the city of Miami, Florida is amended to amend Appendix C, Midtown Overlay District, Section 627.1.6, titled Building Placement and Buildable Area, and Section 627.1.7, titled Maximum Height, Build to Minimum Setback and Use Requirements, making findings contained in several clause and providing for an immediate effective date.
I'll move it.
I'll second it.
any discussion?
No.
Seeing none? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
Are we done?
And I'm recording that as unanimous.
And the-
Unanimous, yeah. Are you done?
4-0.
we are done.
Okay, before you go, I think we have some,
Chair, sorry, we just need to defer DI 2?
yes.
Yes, we did.
Yes,
Do you
we
need a
did.
motion for that?
I move to defer
Yes,
DI2.
we need a motion.
We
Second.
need a
So
motion.
moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And that will be deferred to the January 27th meeting.
Yes.
Okay.
Now, we have something that's gonna last about 20 seconds and we go home.
Okay.
All right, so what do we have, clerk? I just wanna do something very quick and we go home. If you allow me, Madam Chair.
I will allow that.
Thank you, ma'am.
Welcome back. Your dreams were your ticket out. Welcome back to that same old place that you laughed about. Well, the names have all changed around, but those dreams have remained and they've turned around. We've not been just back there where we need you.
spot, but we got him on the spot.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back.
Welcome back, Sergeant at Arms Luis Camacho. Thank you.
Luis Camacho.
We're honored to have you with us again, sir.
I'm happy to have it. Welcome back, Camacho. Welcome back. And Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla, I think now in the days, only you and I remember that program.
Thank you, everyone, for attending the
And
January
I wanna
13th,
before you finish, I want to
2022
congratulate you, Madam
Commission
Chair,
meeting.
for your first chairmanship,
That's right.
your
Thank
first
you.
meeting. Excellent job.
Thank you.
We love the
Excellent job.
hair, and we love your talents. So
Thank you.
It was a pleasure.
Yes.
The meeting is now adjourned. Thank you, everyone.